You're talking to a woman, could be at a cafe, a bookstore, a work event, maybe even online. The conversation feels easy, not forced, not awkward, just smooth. And then she asks something that sounds innocent, almost casual, but something about it sticks with you. You don't know why, but you feel it. And here's the truth most men don't realize. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why she asked it, what it really means, and how to respond without killing the moment, even if you've already missed signs like this before. Now, let's be honest for a sec. Most men over 50 believe one quiet lie, that women stop being curious about them. That attraction belongs to younger men. That if a woman shows interest, she's just being friendly. And because of that belief, they dismiss the very moments that actually matter. But that belief is outdated. And if you've ever replayed a conversation later thinking, wait, was she testing me? Stay with me, because she probably was. And I want to speak directly to you for a moment. If you've ever walked away from a conversation and felt that quiet pull in your chest, like something meaningful almost happened but slipped through your fingers, you're not alone. So many men have experienced that exact feeling. Maybe it happened years ago, maybe it happened last week. And if you've ever caught yourself thinking, did I miss something there? I want you to comment below. I felt that. Not just for engagement, but because awareness starts when you admit you've been there. And trust me, what you're about to understand will change how you experience these moments forever. I'm Mary Smith, host of the Senior Mindful Living YouTube channel. Now here's the psychological truth most men never hear explained clearly. When a woman is drawn to an older man, she doesn't chase, she checks. She observes, she listens between the lines, she tests for awareness. Because for her, attraction is not just about how you look or what you say, it's about how you feel to her nervous system. Do you feel safe? Do you feel steady? Do you feel present? And instead of saying, I'm interested in you, she asks questions, 2 of them. Simple on the surface, but incredibly revealing underneath. And this is where it gets interesting, because these questions don't sound romantic. They don't sound like flirting. In fact, most men completely miss them. They pass right through the moment like it never even happened. But once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let me give you a real-life example. A client of mine, David, 58 years old, met a woman at a quiet wine bar. Conversation flowed effortlessly. They laughed, shared stories, and there was that unmistakable ease between them. Then she leaned in slightly and asked, "So, do you usually spend your time alone?" He answered honestly but flat, "Yeah, mostly I keep to myself." And technically, those answers are fine. And that was it. The energy shifted. Not dramatically, not abruptly, just subtly. The warmth cooled. The conversation continued, but the connection? It didn't deepen. Later, he told me, I don't know what happened. It felt like something closed. And he was right. Something did, because he answered the words, but missed the meaning. Here's what most men don't understand. Men tend to move toward what they want through action. They express interest directly. Women, on the other hand, often move through curiosity, especially when they're evaluating emotional safety, especially when they're considering closeness. So when a woman feels drawn to you, not just casually, but in a deeper, more intimate way, she wants to understand 3 things. Are you open or closed? Are you steady or reactive? Are you aware or completely missing what's happening? And questions are how she finds out. Not interrogations, not interviews, subtle, emotionally intelligent tests. Now here's where many men unknowingly sabotage themselves. They respond logically instead of emotionally. They answer like they're filling out a form, factual, efficient, complete. But connection doesn't live in facts, it lives in energy. So let's talk about the first question, because this one appears earlier than most men realize. And when it shows up, she's already imagining a kind of closeness, even if she hasn't fully admitted it to herself yet. It usually sounds like this. Do you spend a lot of time alone? Or are you usually on your own? Or even, do you tend to keep to yourself? Now pause for a moment. I want you to really think about this. Have you ever heard a version of that question? Maybe not word for word, but something close? If you have, drop a comment. I've heard that before, because I promise you, once you recognize this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Now let me be very clear. That question is not about loneliness. It's not about your schedule. It's not small talk. It's her quietly asking, is there space for me in your world? That's what she's really trying to understand. She's checking your emotional availability. She's feeling into whether your life is sealed shut or gently open. Because here's something most men never consider. A woman does not imagine herself entering a man's life unless she already feels something, even if it's subtle, even if it's just a spark. She doesn't ask that question randomly, and if she didn't care, she wouldn't ask at all. But most men respond like this. Well, yeah, I'm alone most of the time. Or, no, I stay pretty busy. And technically, those answers are fine, but energetically, they're empty. They don't give her anything to feel. Now imagine this instead. I enjoy my space, but I always make room for the right kind of energy. Or I'm comfortable on my own, but I'm open to connection that feels real. Do you feel the difference? There's no pressure, no chasing, no over-explaining, just calm, grounded openness. And that's what relaxes her. That's what tells her nervous system, this man is safe to move toward. Let me give you another example. A man named Richard, 62, shared a story with me. He was at a bookstore cafe talking to a woman he had just met in the philosophy section. They ended up sitting together, discussing life, purpose, even loss. At one point, she asked him, "So, do you enjoy being by yourself?" He smiled slightly and said, "I've learned to value my own company, but I've also learned that the right connection makes life richer." She didn't respond immediately, but her body language shifted. She leaned in, her tone softened, and the conversation moved into something deeper, more personal. Later that evening, she told him, "I felt like I could actually talk to you." Now, here's a simple exercise I want you to try. The next time you're in a conversation and a woman asks you something that feels slightly more personal than surface level, pause, take one breath. And before you answer, ask yourself, what is she really asking me right now? Not just the words, the meaning behind them. That one moment of awareness can completely change the direction of the interaction, because when you respond to the deeper question, not just the surface one, that's when connection begins. But don't get too comfortable yet, because the second question she asks is even more powerful, and this is where attraction either deepens or quietly disappears. Now let's move into the second question, and I want you to pay very close attention here, because this is the moment where everything becomes real for her. It usually sounds like this. "So, what are you looking for these days?" Now on the surface, that sounds casual, almost like polite curiosity. But let me slow this down for you. This question is never casual. If she asks you this, she is already considering you in a deeper way. She's no longer just feeling the moment. She's evaluating the possibility of you in her life. And what she's really asking is not about your career, your hobbies, or even your lifestyle. She's asking about your direction, your internal direction. She wants to know, is this man alive inside? Is he moving forward? Does he have intention? Or is he just drifting through life? Because women don't connect deeply with certainty. They connect with clarity, and there's a big difference between those two. Certainty says, I have everything figured out. Clarity says, I know what matters to me. And that's what she's looking for. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. A man named Thomas, 67, went on what he thought was a casual dinner with a woman he met through mutual friends. Everything felt relaxed, comfortable, easy. Then halfway through the evening, she asked him, "So, what are you looking for at this stage in your life?" He paused and said, "Honestly, I don't really know. I'm just taking life as it comes." Now again, that sounds reasonable, even mature. But here's how it landed for her. Uncertain, directionless, passive. Not because he was those things, but because that's what his answer communicated. And the emotional door quietly began to close. I'm building a chapter of my life that feels meaningful and grounded, and I value having the right people beside me as I do that. Or, I'm at a place where I really appreciate connection that feels calm, real, and intentional. Or even, I'm focused on living well and sharing that with someone who sees life the same way. Notice something important here. You didn't say, I'm looking for a woman. You didn't put pressure on the moment, but you showed direction. And that allows her to imagine herself walking beside you instead of wondering where you're going. That's when her curiosity shifts into something deeper. That's when emotional attraction begins to turn into desire. Because now she's not just talking to you, she's feeling you. She's asking herself, would it feel safe to lean into this man? Now here's where many men unintentionally sabotage this moment. They try to sound impressive. They over-explain. They list achievements. Or they downplay themselves entirely. But both of those approaches miss the point. Because again, she's not evaluating your resume, she's feeling your presence. So here's another practical exercise for you. Take a moment after this video and write down your answer to that question. What am I looking for these days? Not in terms of goals, but in terms of feeling. What kind of life are you building? What kind of connection matters to you? What kind of energy do you want around you? And then practice saying it, simply, calmly, without overthinking. Because confidence is not about having the perfect words. It's about being at peace with your truth. Many men fail these moments, not because they're unaware, but because they become too aware. They recognize it's important, and suddenly they tensed up. They overanalyze, they try to perform, and in doing so, they lose the very thing that created the connection in the first place: presence. So remember this: men who chase moments lose them. Men who stay present allow them to grow. And yes, sometimes that growth leads to deeper connection. Sometimes it leads to intimacy. And sometimes it simply leads to a meaningful exchange that stays with both of you. But it always starts with awareness. Let's bring this all together. When she asks, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" She's asking, "Is there space for me in your world?" When she asks, "What are you looking for these days?" She's asking, "Is your life going somewhere I could be part of?" Miss these questions, and the door closes quietly. Recognize them, and the door stays open. So here's your simple action step. The next time a woman asks you something that feels casual, but lands differently, don't rush. Don't default to logic. Pause. Feel the moment, and respond with calm clarity. And if you've ever had one of those moments where you only understood it later, I want you to comment below, "I see it now." Because that's where growth begins. And if this opened your eyes in a new way, make sure you like and subscribe. Not just for more content, but because the next video will show you exactly what women do after these questions, when they want things to move closer, and why so many men still misread that part too. But only if you're ready to see what's really been happening all along.